On April 25th, 2026, badminton changed forever. For more than 20 years, we have played games to 21. Now the Badminton World Federation has officially proved a new system. Best of 3 games, but instead of 21 points, we play to 15 points. And internationally, the change starts in January 2027. Now most badminton players hear that and think, okay, 6 fewer points, who cares? I think that completely misses what just happened. Because when you change how many points it takes to win, you just don't change the scoreboard. You change how valuable every rally is. You change the pressure, you change the tactics, you change the physical game, you potentially change how players should train. And if you take this far enough, I think it could even change the pathway of becoming a professional badminton player. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I would take advantage of this, rather than spending the next 3 years training for a version of badminton that's actually disappearing right now. Because you can complain about 15 points, you can love it, you can hate it, it doesn't matter. The game is moving and the player adapts fastest, has an advantage when the rules change. I think there are 5 major areas in this new era that's going to affect the match itself, the physical game, tactics, psychology, how we train, and finally, how players actually build a professional badminton career. And the last thing that has almost nothing to do with 6 fewer points. The current 21-point rally system came in around 2006, so basically an entire generation of players has grown up inside the same game. Training programs were built around it. Tactics evolved around it. Conditioning evolved around it. Coaches have learned around it. And now we are changing one of the fundamental constraints of the sport. Think about the second-order effects. You're playing tomorrow. You start badly. 0-4. In a game to 21, not good. You have still time. A game to only 15 points, your opponent has already more than quarter of the points they need to win. 4 rallies, that's it. So what happens to the player who always needs a half game to wake up? Or what happens to the player who takes 10 rallies to understand the drift? Or what happens to the player whose strategy is basically I'll hang around until they get tired? And suddenly, starting well becomes more valuable. And that's where we get to the physical game. If every rally represents a bigger percentage of the game, then being able to produce your best badminton immediately matters. First step speed, attacking, reaction speed, braking, reacceleration, getting onto the shuttle early. You don't want to spend the first 5 minutes slowly finding a level. And this is where badminton fitness gets misunderstood. Most players hear, you need better stamina, and immediately think running. These long intervals, getting destroyed. You don't win badminton by moving slowly. You repeatedly produce fast actions and then recover enough to do it again. There's a concept called speed reserve. Very simply, if your maximum speed goes up, normal rally speed becomes a smaller percentage of what you're capable of. So sometimes, one of the best ways to look fitter is to actually become faster. Now, put that into shorter games where early momentum might become even more important. Speed actually isn't the part where I'd be the most worried about, because shorter games do something much nastier. They make your mistakes more expensive. Think about 1880 now. Everybody feels it, the crowd feels it. You start thinking about your shots more. Your opponent slows down. Now imagine that type of pressure arriving around 11 all, 12 all, 13 all. There's simply less runway to repair stupid mistakes. And this exposes a huge problem in badminton training. A lot of players have one game in practice and another game under pressure. Warm up, barely. Feeding is great. Maybe beautiful technique, but then it's 13 all. And suddenly the racket feels 15 kilos of weight. Why? Because most training is predictable and competition isn't. Badminton is too fast for you to consciously think about 10 things. Split stepping, grip, what grip to use, your elbow, racket preparation, balance, recovery, opponent, shuttle, score, tactics. You don't have time. Eventually, the game needs to become automatic. You see, react, play. That's why I think things like small-sided games, random feeds, this freestyle multi-shuttle, and unstructured rallies matter so much. Technical drills can build a movement. Chaos teaches you when to use it. And 15-point badminton may punish the gap between those two even harder. But this creates a really weird contradiction, because I think players might become more aggressive, more conservative at the same time. Hear me out. Every mistake is more expensive, so logically, take fewer risks. An early lead becomes even more valuable, so logically, attack and take control earlier. So, which one of those is the correct one? I'll tell you, it's probably both. And that's why I think tactical intelligence becomes more valuable. Not just attack more, not just being consistent, but knowing when. What happens after the short serve return? Or what does it normally return? What type of shot reply do I want? Where do they become predictable? How are they starting the games? What happens under pressure? The best players don't magically have more time than you. They recognize the patterns sooner, so they start moving before you even understand what you've seen. And now imagine having less time to learn those patterns during a match. Scouting becomes more valuable. Your first 4 shots become more valuable. These opening strategies become more valuable. Maybe you don't get an entire first game to figure out anymore. And if that's true, something else has to change too. The training. Because you can't change competition and pretend Tuesday's practice should stay exactly the same. For a long time, badminton development has basically had one answer. More badminton, more repetitions, more multi-shuttle, more footwork, more running, more gym, more tournaments. Train harder, train longer, outlast everyone. And to be fair, that system has produced some monsters, especially in Asia, where there's millions of people. Just like Lin Dan, Lee Chongwei, Chen Long, Kenta Momota, players who have spent thousands and thousands of hours around elite badminton. And that old era was real. But here's the issue. You don't have China's national team. Most players watching this have school, limited courts, maybe 3 good training partners, and the same 24 hours as everybody else has. So eventually, do more stops being a very intelligent strategy. The question becomes, how do I get more improvement from the hours I already have? And some of the world's best badminton players started asking that question before everyone else. And Viktor Axelsen is probably the most obvious example. After Tokyo, Viktor made Dubai his main training base. And I think people look at that and simplify it way too much. They think Dubai is for the good weather, the sun, the nice life. That was not the point for Viktor Axelsen. He wanted to change the environment around himself. The training partners, the recovery, the traveling, lifestyle, focus, conditions. He wasn't just optimizing one badminton session. He was optimizing the entire machine that produced his badminton. And then he kept winning. That's the clue. Because at the very highest level, everybody has and is already working hard. You don't reach the Olympics because you're lazy. So eventually, the advantage has to come from somewhere else. Better decisions, environment, recovery, training, a better system, an optimized system. Milliseconds, percentages, tiny things adding together. And I learned the opposite lesson, the hard way. I used to think hard work would solve everything. So I trained a lot. Extra sessions, footwork, gym, matches, heart rate data, training cycles, analysis. I tried to do everything a serious badminton player was supposed to do. And I kept thinking, eventually this has to pay off, right? Then I had knee pain, Achilles pain, shoulder problems, and finally a stress fracture in my back. It was basically pain, pause, and a comeback and a repeat. And eventually, I had to ask a pretty uncomfortable question. What if effort isn't my problem? What if the direction is? Because there's no prize for doing the most work if the work is moving you in the wrong direction. So I started looking everywhere. Speed training, motor learning, recovery, fascia, different coaches, plyometrics, progressions, different programs, different sports, all the paid programs in badminton. And that's where badminton hand started. The idea of development should be a system, not a collection of random hard sessions. That's why I think this moment is much bigger than the scoring change, because 15 points isn't creating badminton's new era. It's arriving at exactly that time as several other things are. 20 years ago, when you were born, could almost decide your badminton education. Your coach had to be the information. Your club had the courts. Your federation had the pathway. Your country had the professional players. If your environment sucked, good luck. But today, I can just pull my phone out and watch almost every top player in the world. Slow the match down, study their movement, study their patterns, study the tactics. I can learn from coaches in Denmark, strength coaches in America, sports scientists in Australia and professional players in Asia, all on the same screen. I can message international academies, find camps, find tournaments, contact players, build an audience, contact sponsors, meet players halfway across the world. That is insane when you actually think about it. The information monopoly is basically disappearing. But there's another problem. Now we have too much information. One coach says lift heavy, another one says run more, don't run, stretch, ladder drills. Ladders are useless, train 6 hours, train only 2. Then a professional posts one random exercise and thousands of juniors just copy it, thinking that it will fast improvement, without having any idea what the professional player is even doing it. So the access isn't the advantage anymore. Everybody has access. The advantage is knowing what to ignore. And this is where I think it gets really interesting, because I don't think the professional badminton player of the future is really just a badminton player. They're almost the CEO of a tiny company, and that company is their career. Think about it. A CEO doesn't personally do every job. They make sure that all the pieces work together. Your badminton coach helps your game. A physical coach helps your body. A physio keeps you uninjured. You analyze matches, find the right sparring. Maybe you travel. Maybe you contact a better doubles partner. Maybe you build relationships with sponsorships. Maybe you create an online audience. You assemble the pieces. That's basically what Axelsen did at an elite scale. But access to these tools means younger players can start doing smaller versions of the same thing. And that changes the professional pathway, because traditionally you had to wait. You waited for your coach, for your selection, for your federation. You waited for the national team. You wait for the funding. You wait for someone to notice you finally. But what if you don't wait? What if you just contact the academy? What if you find a tournament? What if you build a training group? What if you create enough value that a sponsor actually wants you? What if you build your own little professional environment before anybody gives you permission? Now, where you're born still matters. Your coach still matters. Your money matters. Connections matter, obviously. But maybe they don't control as much as your future as they used to. And that is why I think serious players have a massive opportunity right now. And here's the interesting part. Better access doesn't necessarily make everybody equally good. It might do the opposite, because everybody has YouTube. Everybody has and can watch professionals. Everybody can learn online. Everybody can use the technology. But one player uses it to build a better system. Another uses it to watch 400 random instant exercises. Same tool, but completely different results. So I think the gap could actually get bigger between players who understand why they're training something and players blindly copy. Between players who manage recovery and players who just add more volume. Between players who create opportunities and players waiting to be discovered. Between players who adapt to the new game, players spending the next 2 years complaining about 15 points. Okay, that's all the big picture stuff. Scoring systems, training revolutions, Viktor in Dubai, information access, badminton players become CEOs. But what do you actually do with this? If I was trying to become professional right now, I would focus on 5 things. Number 1, I'd start playing to 15 points. Now, a lot. Not because I've magically discovered exactly how 15-point badminton will work. Nobody has. That's the point. Learn it before everyone has the answers. What does 5-5 feel like? 10-10. What is when you're 0-4 down? How quickly can you read someone? Do you become too passive? Too aggressive? How does your style change? Don't wait until your first important tournament under the new rules to learn the game. Adapt before adaptation becomes mandatory for you. Number 2, I'd stop confusing tiredness with athleticism. Get fast, accelerate, brake, re-accelerate, jump, build elastic qualities, build useful strength, train speed while you're actually fresh enough to move fast. Then develop the ability to repeat it. Conditioning matters, of course, but being extremely conditioned to move slowly isn't the goal. Number 3, I'd keep technical training, but stop making everything predictable. I'm talking about small-sided games, random feeding, unstructured rallies, different opponents, different constraints, score pressures, starting at 10-10, start at 0-4 down, 1-point games. Make a decision. Your goal isn't to look professional during a drill. Your goal is to rather make the right decision automatically when the game is about to end. Number 4, I'd connect everything. The training, the recovery, nutrition, sleep, tournaments, technical development, physical development, mental performance, career strategy. Because these all affect each other. Let's say if tomorrow is your speech session, what you do tonight matters. If your Achilles hurts, you should change your week. If your tournament is in 3 weeks, your training changes. If you're losing every match because of your return is terrible, stop spending all your extra time trying to add 5 kilos to your squat. Everything needs a reason. And finally, I'd stop waiting for my career to magically happen. Enter tournaments. Tell people you're serious. Contact clubs. Contact academies. Find better players. Travel when it actually creates value for you. Build relationships. Create visibility online. Contact sponsors when you have built something worth sponsoring. Ask. There are probably hundreds of talented badminton players right now training in halls nobody knows about, hoping that someone eventually finds them. Maybe someone will, but hope isn't a very good career strategy. And I'll leave with this. A 15-point system isn't going to magically make you a professional. It might not even change badminton in all the ways I've predicted. We don't know yet. And that's exactly why this moment is interesting. 5 years from now, players will have grown up with the 15 points. Coaches will have adapted. We'll have thousands of matches worth of evidence. The training will change. Everybody will know what works. But right now we are early. And whenever game changes, there's a short period of where questioning the old assumptions actually gives you an advantage. The old pathway was basically find a coach, train hardest, hope you're talented, hope you stay healthy, hope someone notices you. But the new pathway can look different. Learn faster, build better systems, adapt early, create your own environment, create opportunities, and perform when it matters. The new era doesn't make badminton easy, it just makes intelligent players more dangerous. So don't complain that the game has changed. Study what the change rewards. Don't just copy what professional players are doing today. Reverse engineer what built them. And then ask yourself what the professional player of tomorrow is going to need. Because by the time everybody agrees, the early advantage is already gone. If you want to go deeper, I've put my free enhanced guide below. It goes through the systems and principles I'd start building if you're serious about taking badminton to a higher level. Read it, take what helps, actually use it, and subscribe. As badminton enters this new era, I'm going to be studying it alongside you. April 25th, 2026, the game has changed. Now we'll find out what changes with it.